All right, so this video, there were some topics when I was doing that lawn spirit Halloween video talking about, just spirit as a whole, like threat. Um, I was gonna bring up the Home Depot Goblin when I was talking about how Jimmy used to go that extra mile and make extra movements that wasn't necessary, but they did it anyways, and that's what made their item so good and so much better than what the most of the stuff that is done now. Goblin Thief is a great example of Techie stepping up their game, because they did do they were like, in 2011 they were a lot like older Gemmy items. Their props were very animated. They had fully animated moving heads, moving mouth, and good light features, whatnot. And maybe sometimes an additional animation beyond the head movement and mouth movement. And we stopped seeing that for a long time from Techie. With Gemmy, we haven't seen it since longer. But Techie, with the animatronics that Techie has been making now, they're doing it again. I think Techie stopped doing it because their animatronics had a lot of issues, but now that they're better at doing the animatronics and they're not as faulty, see, at least they still tried. At least they tried to make their mechs better and then redid them later when they were better with the mechs. But the other companies don't seem to do that a lot. But reason why the Goblin is such a good example is because it's a Goblin that has its key point is the jump scare, the skull that pops out of the sack that the Goblin is holding on to. It has a moving mouth, so it moves when it talks, which a moving mouth for a prop that talks is definitely, a prop that talks needs a moving mouth, unless it's like gonna really like mess up the sculpt. Like 2010 Uncle Charlie, like again the 2020 Uncle Charlie, him having a moving mouth with that rubber mask messed up the face that the original Uncle Charlie had. The sculpt was so good. But with animatronics like this, it needs a moving mouth, but it has a moving head too, which is an animation that is another one of the category of, it was an animation that wasn't necessary. It didn't need a moving head, but they gave it a moving head, which made it better than, they could have just gave it the moving mouth with the pop-up skull motion, but they went the extra mile to give it the extra head movement, which again paid off and made it better. So that's another. I really wanted to bring that up in the other video, but I totally forgot, because sometimes I ramble on a topic for so long, and then I forget, and I want to move on to a different topic, but then I forget an important factor, a factor that I feel is really important, like this. So yeah, and then another thing that's a completely different topic is how much everyone is bashing like young Crouchy and all that, because when it came out I thought it was the stupidest thing, and some people are saying worse than Johnny Punk, bigger fail than Johnny Punk. What was Spirit thinking? See, I know it's still going to be popular, and I did talk about that in that Spirit video, but I think it wouldn't be. It's how Spirit introduced it that made it so unlikable. This year we all figured out that it was going to be a lab, and here's young Crouchy in this theme, which doesn't really make. The only way it could make sense in this theme is if if Crouchy went in this like weird machine thing that turned him young again, like you would see in some weird movies that have that type of aspect or whatever. But that goes kind of beyond, that's like not, yeah. But no, there's other animatronics that could have better fit the theme than like young Crouchy. Like if young Crouchy was the inbox only or filler animatronic or online only, I don't think it would have gotten the criticism that it got. But the fact that it is like featured in the main front ISC, doesn't really make sense, and that made it more unlikable. And I mean, when it first came out, it's like supposed to be half the size of the original crouchy. The original crouchy is 7 feet if it's standing straight up, but if it's bent forward, it's going to be like 6 feet, or like a little, yeah. But this crouchy apparently is 5 feet, so it's not a whole lot shorter, but it's the name Young Crouchy. It just makes it sound so weird. Like, I get it, it's supposed to be Crouchy when he was younger, but again, the way it's introduced, especially into the theme, I think is what makes it so unlikable. If, like, yeah, like I said, this is a lab theme, and I would expect something like Nightcrawler. I know we've already seen him 2 seasons, and he's not exciting anymore, but Nightcrawler fits the theme a lot better than Young Crouchy does. But they could. I feel disappointed that Dr. Loom isn't in stores. You know, having a lab theme, you would think there needs to be a scientist or doctor of some sort, which there is none. I know the theme is called Dr. Jack's Laboratory, which is supposed to be the spirit of Halloween, but still, it could use a scientist, a doctor of some sort, and Dr. Loom would have been the perfect fit. You know, they could have done without Young Crouchy and put Dr. Loom. This is why I feel like Young Crouchy is getting so much hate, because it shouldn't be a key prop in that theme. Something else should have been there that's more important to the theme. Like I said, Nightcrawler is a filler inbox only this year, but he would much better fit that theme than that. And or Dr. Loom. I feel like Dr. Loom over Nightcrawler because he's a little newer, so he's not as seen, he's not as old. So he would, and a lab, yeah, again, it needs a doctor, scientist, whatever. It would fit perfectly fine. I would not complain about it at all. Dr. Loom is not a overly very well liked prop. It's not, like, whoa, this is the best animatronic of this year by any means, but it still would have been really cool if he was contributed into the theme. They did it with Bari, which was last year, and he fits the theme to an extent. It's a creature zombie in a cage that you could experiment on, so it makes sense. But the little skelly bones, even though I know it's a new props, a lot like Betty Sharp, Reagan, do not make sense in the theme. But like I said in the video, like, not every prop's gonna make sense, and that's fine. But like Young Crouchy in the front theme, I think it really needed something. Why I dislike it so much is because, and I could end up liking it later, but it's again, for me, I think it's how it was introduced that made me and a lot of people not like it very much. And then in the front theme, you've got this small little Tombstone Terror animatronic that takes up barely any space in the ISC. There's so much open space, but it's just this little tombstone with a skull that comes up from behind it. They could have put something bigger in that spot. This tombstone prop could have fit anywhere else. Like, it's kind of a smaller scale prop. It's only like $80. It's either a pop-up or a rising skull from behind the tombstone. It's made by a different company, and it's only motion activated from what I'm aware, but because the pictures that were leaked of the setup manual say this will only be on motion sensor in the display or whatever, something like that. But it's just this little tombstone in this section that has so much open space. It looks weird. Again, they could have fit Nightcrawler and Dr. Loom in these two spaces that with these props that are kind of unnecessary to be where they are. Like, these Tombstone Terror, Young Crouchy would have been better off as a filler inbox only type animatronic, I feel like. Let me know if you agree with what I'm saying, but I'll think about it a little bit more because there's probably another topic I could quickly talk about, but besides that, those were the two main things that I forgot to include in the other video. But yeah. Oh yeah, I might as well just say this, that the Experiment 1031 teaser that everyone was so hyped about and all that stuff earlier today, Um, you know, I get Spirit likes to advertise their stuff in videos like these, and it's okay to do that, but I think that what they should do, especially from now on, after the feedback that this got, because, when I woke up, 2 hours early to thinking that they were going to, show the whole lineup, including the online only stuff, only for every animatronic. It's all the animatronics we've seen leaked in the ISC manual, but it's only shown for each animatronic is not shown for any longer than 2 seconds. Most of them are not even in the shot for 2 seconds. It's less than that. So it's just Spirit. Pretty much the way this teaser comes off is just Spirit saying, "This is a weird scripted acting video with featuring Spirit our new products, but you only get to see our new props for 1 second." That's not really what this should have been the teaser of this year's lineup. All these weird teasers they had earlier that really didn't show anything, this would have been better as a teaser than the teasers that we got. And then today they should have released full demos or a full showcasing of these animatronics instead of what they did with this. And I know a lot of you are making a video talking about this because they were not happy with what happened with this. And I'm not trying to be negative about it. I understand Spirit doing it. I understand they wanted its advertising purposes for their animatronics, but this shouldn't have been this huge hyped up thing. And maybe it's our fault for hyping it up because Spirit never officially said, I don't think, that it was going to be the whole lineup, or I think we just assumed, which made us disappointed. So maybe we shouldn't overhype things either if we don't know for sure what's gonna be happening. But for now on, I would hope that Spirit would do a full showcasing of the stuff first, and maybe how in the stores they used to have the TVs playing where it would show all the animatronics. They should do stuff like that, because they would upload a video like this to their channel, but it showed more of the animatronics and how they moved and stuff. That would have been okay if they did it that way, but the fact that every animatronic is not in the shot for more than a second is what makes this so weird and unlikable, and just again, this should have been the teaser if anything, because the teaser that they did in 2020 showed everything just like this for a second, and you could pause it and piece things together. That was cool and interesting. They could have done something like that with this if this was the teaser, but they didn't. This was supposed to be this big hype thing that was supposed to reveal something. At least that's what we were hoping, and that's not even at close to what it was. I mean, and the acting in this is not even good at all, and I'm guessing it's not really supposed to be. I think it again, it's just a dumb little video that's just supposed to showcase some Spirit products for advertising, but it's not really advertising if you're only giving your products 1 second screen time. It's not really advertising anything. It's not making your products more hyped or anything. Home Depot has a problem with overhyping their animatronics with talking and describing every detail on the animatronic, but Spirit underhypes the stuff. They get us thinking it's going to be something that's really, really cool, but then they do something like this where that only shows the stuff for a second. So this is the Spirit and Home Depot are complete opposites with how they showcase their themes, but but I was saying their acting, I hope this isn't the type of acting we can expect for the Spirit Halloween movie. I would hope they would take that up a big notch from what this video, because they're okay, yeah, it's supposed to be a stupid teaser to showcase and advertise the animatronics, even though I feel like nothing was really advertised in this because it didn't get enough screen time, so it didn't really, this whole video was pointless. The acting was not good, so nothing in this video was really good. I just hope the acting is not what it is here, which I don't think it will be. I think the movie will be, just a regular scary movie for probably, I know it's directed for kids and stuff, and that doesn't always necessarily ruin a movie for me. Like I've said in the other video, I'm not huge on gore, so it doesn't bother me that there's no gore in this movie or anything like that. But I hope that the acting is okay. I don't know the plot. There's not much about the plot is so simple. A lot of people are not liking the idea of this movie. I'm still, not gonna bash it or anything before I see it. I'm still, maybe it's one of those things where I'm expecting it to be a little good. Maybe I'll be disappointed after I see it, but I'm still giving it gonna give it the benefit of the doubt or whatever. And how it'll be better than this. Obviously, it should be if it's a movie and made it past production. It's got to pass some level of like being decent to be released, I would hope.
Look at this place.
But
it's Creep City in here.
Because this is a video that I can make with my props. You know how that's my edited video, my famous video where I'm like stupidly interacting with the props and shit. I could do that. Everyone in this community could make this video and not have any acting skills. There's no acting skills here or anything like that. It's funny because we're consumers of these products, but like this is a retail company, and they're putting more effort into trying to make something cinematic when it's just an animatronic. I don't know. It leads to being disappointed. That's what I'm saying. Putting so much cinematic work into all this flickering effects and stuff, it's not really needed for this.
What was that?
What is it? You okay?
Something grabs at me.
Is it freezing in here?
What the? What was that?
Nothing's working. Emily, turn around! Run!
We're going to die here, Matt. Every time we go down a hallway, we get more lost. This place isn't normal.
Like I said, this video would be okay if they would have released their stuff and like fully showcased their animatronics first and then release this video later on. Then it would be, it wouldn't be so bad because we had already seen the stuff. We're not going to be disappointed. This video is going to be funny, a comedy. But because they released this as an official theme for showcasing their new animatronics, that's where this is so unlikable, because it's just not anywhere near what anyone expected and how much hype this got. But yeah, another one I forgot is this goes back to the Home Depot and another techie one. Just a second, let me pause this and because I forgot to talk about it while I was talking about the Goblin, because that happens with my mind. I can't think about everything at the moment. I do, and then I forget it, and then that's what happens. So I was gonna just talk about this witch because I saw a comment that was saying I love the head and mouth movement on this. It reminds me of classic Jemmy movement, and it does. After reading that comment, at first I was like, "What is?" See, what I don't like about this is the plasticky face look and the way the jaw moves. It looks cool on Lurching Vampire, and at this, I know I thought this was going to be a Lurching Witch because of that mouth, and the way that the fabric was velcroed to the base looked so flat, like it was a rectangular lunging type base. So I am a little disappointed that it wasn't a Lurching Witch prop, which I would have actually probably been more excited about if it was, but I do like the head movement. I do like the mouth movement. I don't know if it's better. It has the same audio as the witch that came out last year with the flaming pumpkin. It just moved its mouth, had cool lights, and the flaming pumpkin effect. I think overall those look a little cooler. So I think I would get those before I would get this. But I do like the head animation. Like I said with the Goblin, it was something I didn't expect. When I first saw this, I thought it was a Pan-Asian animatronic. Because Pan-Asian has those weird-looking puppet mouths that make the animatronics look very fake and unrealistic. And that's what turned me off from this when I first saw it. what saved it is the fact that it's tech. You know, if this was a Pan Asian, I wouldn't like it as much. Pan Asian does a lot of like motionette type movements though, whereas Techie does, you know, good programming and stuff. So this is like, you know, Gravedigger and all that. But I would have preferred it if they would have given it a rubber face. The mouth they could, you know, so the mouth wouldn't look so puppety. Again, it wouldn't look like a Pan Asian animatronic then, because sometimes I just don't like how Pan Asian animatronics look with that puppet mouth. Some animatronics with it look okay. Like, I'm okay with the Scarecrow that Big Lots had and Home Depot had a few years ago, 2017, 18. But things like the clown that Spirit had in 2016 looked so cheap and just unfitting for Spirit Halloween. And most of the Pan Asian animatronics looked like that. Just looked very cheap and generic. And again, I thought this was a Pan Asian when I first saw it, because of that puppet look. The puppet look can look cool sometimes, but like I think this would have been cooler with a rubber face. Like the Goblin, his face has a rubber face, and it looks good. This probably would have looked better if it had a rubber face. That's basically all I'm saying. But otherwise, I'm still glad that Techie is going back to their older routes. You know, with animatronics being more animated. You know, we've seen some of that from Party City as well, Possessed Chair Girl and stuff like that. But yeah. Oh, what? Not the stream page. What? Another one about the props that don't make sense in the themes this year is Lucky Bottoms. He's one animatronic that definitely did, with how annoying I know it's going to get in stores with the audio that it has. It's one that I really wish was a filler. It's like, there's cool. We've seen one filler inbox only filler animatronic, and it's that neck snapping girl, which, well, I guess maybe that doesn't really fit the themes very much either, besides the fact that her neck snaps to the side, but that's not really, I don't know, that's more of a demonic type thing, not really something the lab did from an experiment. But Lucky Bottoms isn't either. Young Crouchy, well, you know, again, the only way that works is what I said. If you Crouchy went into a machine that made him yawn again, which is kind of like, too much, too specific, and I don't know, too much, I don't know. But, you know, Nozzle fits because he's got those arms that blow fog, so he works. And, you know, some animatronics work. Reagan, see, I do like Nozzle's, the throw switch it has that you activate it with, that I've seen from the ISC pictures. But the Reagan having the throw switch activation does not make sense at all. But I like that feature of activation, but it doesn't fit Reagan. I wish something else was there instead. Just a lot of the animatronics, especially in the back theme, don't really. The Bag of Bones does, because it's a bag of bones. Those are used in labs and whatever. But most of the animatronics in the back just don't fit the whole lab theme at all. And Young Crouchy and Tombstone Terror don't fit the lab at all either. At first, none of these animatronics, even Possessed Pumpkin and Lord Raven, at first I didn't think they made sense, but when someone pointed out to me that, well, these are like mutated monsters, like Possessed Pumpkin is like a mutated creature, so it does make sense. Lord Raven makes sense because it's a weird creature. It does make sense, but these random girls, like Betty Sharp and stuff, and these random clowns that there's nothing different about them, like Lucky Bottoms. There's no special effects or twists or what am I don't know, just not something that fits a lab, like something that could be an experiment. There's nothing about Lucky Bottoms that fits any of that category. Here's Evil Scientist on the screen. He definitely would have been perfect for it, but yeah, I don't think he's ever coming back. But and there's probably going to be maybe another inbox only animatronic that we haven't seen yet. Maybe, I hope. Maybe not though. But there's going to be some online only animatronics that I feel like definitely would fit better. And Pumpkin Nester is still speculated to be returning, but as an online only at this point. And he is, though he's a pumpkin creature, some might think he doesn't really fit the lab, but he, in a way, he could, because he is a pumpkin character that's talking like a person. I guess that could be a, yeah, that it still fits, kind of like possessed pumpkin. It's another mutated pumpkin creature that, yeah, it works from the way, once I see things from a certain perspective, I understand it. But some of these things I won't understand, like Lucky Bottoms and shit. Yeah. So, again, I'm always open to hearing other perspectives, because usually I do change my mind and perspective once I hear about how something does work, something that I never thought about before. So, yeah. I think I covered everything I needed to for today. So more will probably come up as more gets released, but for now, this is what I feel like I had to say that I forgot to include. The other video was already long enough, so I guess it's okay that I made another part. Yeah. So, again, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you agree, or was what I'm saying making sense, or any? I want to know what you think too. So let me know in the comments. So I'll see you whenever I do another video like this, which will be pretty soon. So yeah.